to the Red Menace. We're a comedy news podcast bringing you things from places. My name's Chris Bolson.
And I'm Alison Hoare.
Now, Alison, before we started recording, you told me that you were going to run me through some of the corporate April Fool's pranks that were pulled that are just really high quality.
Yeah, well, look, actually, before I do that, I realised our last episode was released on April Fool's Day.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought I should make it quite clear that I am, in fact, leaving the country and that wasn't a prank. Because
that would have been good.
I think, I mean, I'm not sure, if our listeners took that as a prank, but I am really leaving the country in 3 weeks. So just thought I'd make that very obvious, very clear.
Can I preface this prank-centric sequence just by saying that the core concept of a prank, I think, is maybe the worst thing that humanity's ever come up with. Like, it's a joke where one person feels shitty at the end. That's what a prank is. Where one person makes someone else feel shitty, and it's so funny.
I mean, there's some pranks, like that Just for Laugh prank show from Canada, which is quite funny because it's just like absurd things. But then on the other flip side, you've just got a whole bunch of, companies trying to fool their customers by releasing products that the customers might actually want.
Yeah.
And then saying, lol, actually, we're not making this. My favourite one was that it was an Australian flavoured milk brand. They released a press release saying that they were going to make an ice cream, a frozen flavoured milk, like a flavoured iced coffee, rather.
Yeah.
Like an iced coffee flavoured ice cream. And so all the customers were like,
that sounds great.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. And then the company is like, actually, it's a joke. Lol, fooled you all.
You can't... If it sounds like something that you would actually do, then it's not a successful joke.
If it sounds like something you would actually do, and it's something that all your customers are like, yeah, this is awesome, we want to buy this, and you, the company, say, lol, jokes, actually, we're not making this, and...
then you done fucked up.
Yeah. It's...
I'm trying to think of ones that I noticed. I know that I saw that Nintendo put out a press release or a video that, like, they would usually put out saying that saying that everything, literally everything, was coming to the Nintendo Switch. And
excellent.
That's at least absurd enough that you're like, this is a joke, because I understand that not literally everything. Like,
yes.
I'm not going to get iTunes on the Nintendo Switch. Like, it's just not going to happen. So that worked. But
yes,
it also wasn't particularly funny, which I think corroborates my original point that pranks are terrible.
Sure. And the McDonald's also did one, which was saying that McDonald's Australia unveils McPickle burger for April Fool's Day. Like a burger that's just pickles. And some customers were like, cool, that sounds good. Can we have this?
Okay.
And McDonald's is like, this is a prank, haha.
To be fair, that's McDonald's way of flushing out the sickos that want a purely pickle burger. Those people need to be identified and dealt with.
Oh, dear. They do, frankly. And weeded out from your franchise's fandom.
Because you can't have them purchasing your...
But iced coffee flavoured ice cream.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That's a good product.
That 100% surely exists already. Actually, you can buy Bailey's flavoured ice cream, which is basically that.
I absolutely believe that flavoured ice cream exists, and that company, I don't understand why they'd release that as like, unless the April Fool's prank is that, lol, jokes, actually we are releasing this product and it's not a funny joke.
Can you imagine if, like, a company that made, like, washing machines was like, we've come up with this crazy new idea. We're going to make a phone, and on it, you can send text messages and listen to music and browse the internet. And we're going to call it the washing machine phone. Like, if this idea of, like, for April Fools, we're going to announce that we're making a product that everybody else already makes and is popular and successful.
Yeah. Now, there's another prank which I wanted to bring to your attention, which was the Tinder prank.
Oh, God.
About their height verification that they were adding into the software.
That's fun, actually.
Oh, dear. So it would say that if you were able to verify your height by standing next to, like, a public building or something with a verifiable height, then you get a badge saying that your height was verified by Tinder.
See, I like that. That's actually not terrible.
And it says on this little article about it, as Tinder puts it, we're expecting to see a huge decline in the 80% of males on Tinder who are claiming that they are well over 6 feet. That's fine by us, as long as we're all living our truths.
It's like, I'm
That was a fun prank.
6'1" because it matters. Apparently, is what every Tinder bio reads.
Well, it wouldn't matter if you didn't keep bloody writing that on your Tinder profile.
So Jess was telling me that she went on a Tinder date with a boy before she went on a wonderful Tinder date with me.
Yeah, sure.
And she was talking about how this guy in his profile had been like, I'm 6 foot, and she met him and she was like, you're not. Like,
yeah.
it seems like a weird thing to lie about because it's very easily disproven very
Exactly.
quickly.
The moment you meet them.
It's like, oh, okay, like, it's not a good first impression to start with the height lie. Like, where do you think that's going to go?
How dumb do you think people are that they won't immediately realise that you are not 7'8"? They're like, you walk up in your Danny DeVito height and you're like, hey mate, I'm 6'10", and you're like, I don't think so.
If I'm ever a single man again, I'm going to change my Tinder profile to say I'm 7'8", I weigh 40 kilograms.
And I'm 100% pure muscle.
I'm 100% pure muscle.
And then just put like a real photo of yourself, obviously standing next to someone that's
very small.
That's very small, and you looking like your normal self.
I have unbreakable skin. My dick is 1 meter long. Like,
and then just put like the height verified logo.
What if I just have for one of my pictures a picture of the verified symbol?
The Twitter verified tick.
Exactly.
Just stick that
I'll
right
say
on
I have
there.
50,000 Twitter followers, but I won't date me to find out the name.
And then you like the first opening line is, look, I've got 20 Twitter followers, but I'm sure that's not why you're dating me.
I accidentally typed in some extra zeros. It was a mistake.
Why not just go for straight up catfishing at this point?
I think that would be fun. Well, my idea was to create this like absurd outsized person and just see if anyone would think that they were real, but I'm sure they would.
Oh, for sure. Or they would just know that you're bullshitting and not care.
What if I just put a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio?
It's just, you don't say that that's you. It's just a picture there amongst all the pictures.
What if I just say I'm Leonardo DiCaprio? And then me turns up, and they're like, and you'd be like, yeah, I've put on weight for a role.
I've got a bit of plastic surgery. It's really method acting is what I'm going for here.
For the next Tarantino. I bet you didn't know. I bet you didn't know I was Australian. I'm method. It's for a role.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll show up and I would say that I'm Chris Hemsworth's long lost brother.
Why don't you show up and
Biff
say that you're Chris
Hemsworth? That's what I mean. That's what I would do. I'm Biff Hemsworth.
Biff Hemsworth.
The long lost brother in the Hemsworth chain. Just
what does Biff Hemsworth do for a living?
Biff Hemsworth is... he's probably like a... I would say he's like an officer of the law of some description.
I would say you're Chris's personal trainer.
Biff Hemsworth. I was going to go with like an estuaries and fisheries officer in the...
Hi,
in Byron Bay.
My name's Jed Hemsworth. I work for the Australian Tax Office. Can you please show me your records? Hi, my name's Devon Hemsworth. I work for Child Protective Services. Can you please let me in?
But it's got Hemsworth in the name, so you'd open the door just in case. Like, just in case he's hot like the other Hemsworths are.
Hi, my name's Jeremy Hemsworth. Welcome to Macquarie Hospital. How may I help you today?
Hi, I'm Gregory Hemsworth, and I am a computer consulting engineer. I'm developing a new software that helps people to, unify their tax suites with their more invoicing software.
Hi, I'm Adrian Hemsworth, and I'm your Uber driver for the evening. Where would you like me to take you?
Hi, I'm Jilly Hemsworth, and welcome to TGI Fridays. I'll be your server this evening.
The Hemsworths are a big family. They're very Catholic.
There's a lot of Hemsworths.
We should probably start the podcast instead of just inventing Hemsworths.
We just do like a full hour of inventing Hemsworths.
I feel like we could probably drag this out for a long time if we wanted
We probably could. Just make a whole episode with new
Christ.
Hemsworths. But we do have some content to go through that's not Hemsworth related.
All right, you want to go first? You want to be the first Hemsworth off the block?
The first Hemsworth off the block. Okay, so I was actually looking on Google News to find a story that I had happened across on Twitter, which is the one related to Colonel Sanders at Ultra Music Festival doing a DJ set.
What the fuck?
Do you know this story?
No.
Okay, well let's just.
I'm very
I'll tell
out
you
of the
about,
loop at the moment.
I'll tell you about the Colonel Sanders DJ set. But in Googling to find that, I found a lot of other KFC related stories, which I might just quickly run down on first.
KFC is probably my favourite of the fast food restaurants, so this I'm confident is going to be very upsetting.
This is all of the stories I'm about to run down have been in the last week.
Cool.
In various Australian news outlets. So the first one says, this is from Gizmodo, Australia. KFC is selling chicken nachos at one location at 2 a.m.
Odd choice, but that's the appropriate time to sell that.
Yeah, sure. KFC franchise fined $60,000 after worker's leg burnt in cooker.
Uh-oh.
That's quite grim.
It's not great.
And then you announce your chicken nachos a day after that, just so you can,
Again, though, they have picked the appropriate time to sell the chicken nachos.
Well, they have picked the appropriate time. And they picked the appropriate time to announce the chicken nachos.
After a
so
lawsuit.
that Exactly.
This is how they'll bounce back from all that negative press, is by giving drunk people nachos at 2 a.m.
This is another quite negative press about Queensland from Sydney Morning Herald. It said, Queensland man admits killing with one punch at KFC.
Oh, Jesus.
That's quite grim. That's some negative press. Again,
I don't
chicken
think
nachos.
that's not the KFC's... KFC didn't do that, though.
No,
they just had
didn't.
a bad thing happen to them.
It's in KFC.
That's
now, this
true.
is probably the most grim... well, there's a couple more grim ones coming. Ex-KFC worker reveals disgusting snaps inside rat-infested restaurant.
Jesus.
That's a fun one. And,
Don't suppose they specify which KFC that is, do they?
Shall we investigate that?
I feel like that might be
I
important
might just
information.
open that one and see what KFC we are speaking about here.
Please don't be Campsy. Please don't be Campsy.
Now let's have a look. Ooh, this is in England, so it's not even in our country.
That's few.
Thank God.
Few.
Although it does look very gross.
I'm sure.
I'm just going to close out of that one. Now, the point is, there's a lot of KFC in the news, and I didn't realise KFC was such a hot news topic because I thought I could Google News KFC, and that the only thing that would come up was the Ultra Music Festival Colonel Sanders DJ set, which was what I was looking for. But a lot of other stuff came up. And there's another KFC story which I will get into from small town Australia after I do a rundown of the KFC DJ set, because I think this is the important part here.
Okay.
So I've gone to musicfeeds.com.au.
Yep.
And the headline is just giving a rundown about this music festival. It says, Alice in Wonderland and more trash Ultra Music Festival DJ set by KFC's Colonel Sanders. Sorry, I can't read this headline. Alice in Wonderland and more trash Ultra Music Festival DJ set by KFC's Colonel Sanders.
There's a lot going on in that.
There's not a lot of,
So I
verbs.
know Alice in Wonderland is a musician. I'm familiar with her. I'm familiar with Colonel Sanders as a concept.
Yes.
I did not realise he was an individual. I assumed he was long dead.
Well, he does a DJ set at an Ultra Music Festival.
Is he
There's just not a lot of-
120 years old?
there's not a lot of verbs in that headline, so I can't quite work out what it is saying.
Yeah. What's the music festival called?
It's called Ultra Music Festival. It's
not-
like an EDM festival, you know.
Yuck.
Yuck, indeed. Yeah, it's already like, I feel like, you know, as much
lot of
as...
big, sweaty, shirtless boys kind of music festival.
Well, sure. And I feel like your first mistake was going to an EDM festival.
Yeah.
So at that point, you can't really complain that Colonel Sanders has showed up to do a DJ set, because you are at an EDM festival.
I once went to the FOMO Music Festival in Parramatta because a friend of mine was like, Chris, let's go to this. This sounds fun. And spoiler alert, it was not fun. It was 40 degrees. I was overdressed. It was very sunny. I am very pale. Lots of being strong boys with their shirts off. Their skin was a lot more tanned than mine. I tried to take my shirt off at one point and it glowed. So don't do that.
No, you need to like get a false tan before you show up to this kind of
Alison,
event.
I have red hair. I can't get a false tan.
You'd look very Trump-esque with
Yeah, it looks so fake and wrong. That's why I can never go get a tan. It's just because of my hair.
Well, it's exactly right.
So anyway, I didn't like the FOMO Music Festival. Also,
Well,
the food wasn't very good.
And it was probably like $1 million for the food. I would
Yeah.
ballpark figure.
The festival was like $30 though, so that could have been worse.
Okay, that's a decent price. But although the festival being $30 doesn't give me high hopes about
No, I should have seen it coming.
the artists not being...
Empire of the Sun was there. They played that one song by them that's good.
Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure Empire of the Sun played a set at Macquarie University back in the day when I attended Macquarie University.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
That's okay. UTS used to have like O Week parties,
Yeah.
and you would know that whoever performed at the O Week party was on the last leg of their career.
Oh, yeah. We had, like, Art vs. Science,
So did
Gyroscope, all of those, like, classic Aussie electronic bands.
Classic Aussie one-album electronic bands.
Well, like, one song.
Yeah, that's true.
One song made it on Triple J's Hottest 100, and now they do the university rounds. So anyway, back to Ultra Music Festival in Miami. It says the dance music world is up in arms about one particular DJ set at this year's installment of Ultra Music Festival in Miami. Fried chicken juggernaut, KFC, bought a DJ slot for Colonel Sanders to perform on the EDM's Extravaganza's main stage on Friday night. We shit you not.
This is very creative marketing.
A DJ wearing a helmet with Colonel's face performed an incredibly awkward set on the festival's opening night.
Oh, how wonderful!
Now, you have to realise that in the background they have like all the graphics floating around. It's like KFC drumsticks floating around.
Oh my god, yes! This is art.
It's truly modern art. You know, I do think this is an art piece, like a kind of maybe like a takedown of capitalism or something, or like this is what capitalism brings.
I think that KFC accidentally hired a socialist artist to do their advertising.
Like, yeah, exactly. Because I don't understand at what point you thought this wasn't going to be super cringy. So perhaps they knew it was going to be super cringy and was like, this will bring a lot of news.
So
Did he
just play the chicken dance over and over again? Because that would be the obvious choice.
I wish. But if you look at the video, the DJ who's wearing the Colonel Sanders head looks very unenthusiastic about where his life has gotten him.
I wonder why.
He's probably like an aspiring DJ trying to do something successful.
He's always wanted to play at the Ultra Music Festival, and this is
It's
the
his
first time he's
dream.
got to, is in the KFC hat.
At least no one knows who he is.
That's true. He's Colonel Sanders now. Colonel Sanders, I've
He's
never
DJ
trusted.
Colonel Sanders.
I've always felt like Colonel Sanders as a figurehead seemed very questionable because he seems like the kind of guy who owned a plantation, and I just don't.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
And he seems like the kind of person who absolutely hunts poor people for sport.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, that's the vibe I get from him when I see his face smiling at me from the bucket of chicken. I know that chicken is probably the poor people he hunted for sport.
I'm like, there's just a lot of blood on your smiling hands, dear Colonel.
Right, and that's why the KFC colour is red. Because it's like...
It's from the blood of the poor.
Exactly. It's quite grim. But this is a very nice KFC Colonel Sanders head because it's got like dead mouse style LED eyes so that he can show his emotions to the chicken.
Fuck me, that's amazing. I'm looking this up. I need to see it.
So of course
Sanders.
this thing happening triggered a storm of cringe reacts across the online music community. This at
What
KFC,
the fuck?
Colonel Sanders DJing it at Ultra is lame, wrote Marshmallow in a since deleted tweet. I can think of a lot of other artists that actually deserve to be on the stage instead. Australia's own Alice in Wonderland has also weighed in, calling the move tacky. This made me feel so awkward watching. What the fuck is this cringe? You're right. There are some of the most amazing up-and-coming artists who should be seen and deserve to be seen. Yuck, says Alice in Wonderland.
But also, like, his eyes have LED hearts in them.
They do.
So I can't understand what anyone's opposition to this is, because this is, I think, the greatest advertise. This is making me want to go and eat KFC, even after hearing that disgusting rat story.
Because... Right. They were flying on the back of the disgusting rat story and the 60k lawsuit, and they're like, how can we turn the news around?
We play some sick beats.
Let's get a DJ set for Colonel Sanders. Now
This is incredible.
This random guy, Alex Metric, who are you? Are you some DJ person? Probably. This person, Alex Metric on Twitter, who has a verified tick, so you know he's the height that he said he was. He said the biggest mistake KFC made was not to have the Colonel wearing a bucket on his head.
Well, see, the interesting thing is that I think would actually be plagiaristic, because there is a heavy metal guitarist called Buckethead who wears a KFC bucket on his head as his stage outfit.
Is that?
Yeah, he was in Guns N' Roses for a while.
But is that, with permission of KFC?
Absolutely no idea.
Perhaps he saw how popular this guy Buckethead was, and they're like, we can do that. We might as well just make our own
True.
KFC artist. Now, I wonder what other music festivals around the world DJ Kernel is going to be appearing at. I hope he's in...
What are we calling him? Is he DJ Kernel or is he DJ Kentucky Fried? Because I like that.
Sure. DJ K Fried Sanders.
DJ KFC Popcorn Chicken TM.
That has to be the TM.
DJ Sweet Chili Twister TM.
It just reminds me of watching Big Brother back in the day. And they had like a KFC sponsorship. So anytime the housemates went into the diary room, they're like, tell us your favourite KFC zinger moment.
Jesus. I think The Bachelor has done worse than that. They have a McDonald's sponsorship and they once went on a McDonald's date.
Oh, that's sad.
That's how you knew that person was not the winner.
That's
that was
sad.
The person who
They got the
McDonald's
KFC date.
Yeah.
Or the McDonald's date.
It was brutal.
On Survivor Australia, they have the KFC sponsorship now. And so whenever they have, like, they win a challenge, occasionally they get to go to, like, the feast area, and they like put out
Just
a whole bunch
KFC.
of KFC food.
And they're like,
and the
no,
people
I
are like,
want vitamins.
The people are like, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
KFC chips.
What I really want on this fucking island.
It's like, absolutely, I want salty KFC chips because I haven't drank water in a week.
to go with this salty ocean water.
Absolutely. So...
That's how you know you're old, is when you reach a point in your life where you eat enough trash food and you're like, I just need some fucking vegetables.
Exactly. And I guess at that point, the survivors were probably like looking for nutrients. But upon looking for that story on Google News, I found another news story, which is from the Land of Oz, which I thought I should bring to your attention. And this is from Byron Bay, from the Weekly Times Now is the name of the newspaper. And it says, Byron residents up in arms over pretend KFC.
This sounds like a Nathan For You episode.
It really does. But this is just, a situation where people apparently really don't want KFC in their community. So it says, developers of a new shopping precinct promised Byron Bay it would not bring in fast food giants like McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut and Hungry Jack's. But just days after the opening of Mercato on Byron, residents are angry over confirmation of a fried chicken shop that has a familiar ring to it.
Okay.
Chrispy Fried Chicken's fourth shop will open at Mercato, but residents say they won't be fooled, calling it a pretend KFC.
What? So they're opposed to the concept of fried chicken, just as like a core concept.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the case. They're not angry that something is pretending to be a KFC. They're angry that there is a store that sells fried chicken, which is opening.
Why are you angry about that? That's a good thing.
I don't know. And they seem so betrayed by this developer, saying it wouldn't bring in, like, McDonald's
KFC.
and
oh my God.
Hungry Jack's.
What
and they
do
haven't
want?
brought in McDonald's or Hungry Jack's. They brought in a fucking fried chicken shop, which is Australian-owned.
Like an independent fried chicken store. Jeremy's Fried Chicken, and they're not okay with that.
What do you want?
To be fair, they called it Crispy Fried Chicken, which is very close to Kufka.
I would hope that the fried chicken is crispy.
What I was hoping was that the developer had put in a series of fake, like knockoff fast food restaurants.
Well, that's what I was hoping too. That's what I was excited for.
So there'd be like Kentucky Pied and Chicken, and there'd be Pizza Butt, and that would be the strip club.
Yeah, of course.
Then there would be, I can't think of a McDonald's one.
Okay.
Hungry.
Horny Jacks.
Horny Jacks. I was going to go Hungry Jeff's, but that works too.
Jeff's, okay.
I like Horny Jacks. That's
we're
better.
just making like a strip bar version of all of these.
So
different.
this is an adult super mall.
Yeah, exactly. Horny Jacks
Jacks.
is the one where you can see like the male strippers. In there.
So it's literally, to be employed there, you have to be named Jack and you have to be horny.
Well, exactly. And, because we've got to be inclusive. We've got to have all of the different varieties of strip joints you can have
exactly.
in our shopping mall precinct in Byron
So we've got
Bay.
Pizza Butt, but again, that could be a dude-centric one. So I like the idea that this is not only just an adult mega mall, it's a gay adult mega mall.
Sure,
that is
exactly.
exclusively
really?
focused.
Well, I think there's probably like an opening in the market for that. And I feel like Byron Bay could very easily fill that void.
Obviously, TM to all of this.
Right.
Pizza Butt and Horny Jacks are ours.
We're getting patents after this show is finished recording today. I'm going to go right down to the patent office and say, slap down a patent on Horny Jack's strip bar.
There's so many good potential episode titles this week.
Absolutely. Well, the Hemsworths, all of the Hemsworths will probably be working at Horny Jack's because they do have a house in Byron Bay.
Oh my God. My name's Biff Hemsworth. I work at Horny Jack's.
Hi, my name's Biff Hemsworth.
I'm living in Chris's spare room at the moment. I'm paying his
purveyor
rent.
of fine beef at Horny Jack's.
Chris doesn't tell anyone about me because he's ashamed that I work at Horny Jack's.
Well,
Chris is not a very sex-positive superstar.
No, he's not. He's just a man. I don't know what I was coming up with that. But there's really not much else to this KFC.
Chris Hemsworth. Just a man like you and me.
Well, maybe that's what CFC stands for. It's not Crispy Fried Chicken. It's Crispy Fried Chicken, but spelled like Chris.
Chris Fried
like
Chicken.
CHRISPY. Crispy Fried Chicken.
All right, well, that one's the title. That's a winner. It's Crispy Fried Chicken.
That's a good title. That's a
really good title.
Now, do you have some non-KFC related stories? Because we're not getting a KFC sponsorship, and I feel like we've given them too much free airtime on our show.
That's very true. Okay.
We are getting a sponsorship from the Hemsworth family for this episode, though.
So this is from stuff.co.nz. Woman horrified to find man turned Department of Conservation hut into a brewery. When Lorraine Freeman arrived at a Department of Conservation hut in the middle of the Tararu wilderness, a brewing operation was the last thing she expected to find. But that is what she and her husband stumbled across at the Roaring Stag hut recently. A, quote, nice young American guy had taken up residence at the hut with a huge pot and was using water from the nearby river to brew large bottles of beer.
I'm sorry? This is just a random American hiker took over this bloody... this conservation hut to make beer.
Freeman was even more surprised to find that 8 of his friends planned on joining him later that day to help drink the beer, and that the conservation department had no problem with this operation.
Well, of course the conservation department didn't have any problem, because I'm sure they were getting invited over to drink the beer.
To drink this nice river beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't stress enough that this is beer made out of river water. Like,
well, of course.
Fish piss in it. Like, it's not... I don't know if it's clean.
There's probably a lot of other animals that also piss in the river.
That's
true. Because they don't have toilets in the animal kingdom.
Like Gerald and all of his friends that are staying to drink the beer.
They piss just slightly downstream from where they collect the water. They're like, this is where we collect the water from, and that 2 meters away, you have to be 2 meters downstream to piss. Otherwise, you're going to get the water in the beer.
You wouldn't be allowed to brew beer at the local town park, so why would it be okay to do so in a national park? The man told her DOC had been to the hut and seen what he was doing and didn't say anything, Freeman said. I thought that was
weird. They just walked in, looked at what he was doing, closed the door and walked away.
I thought that was really odd, to be honest. DOC's Waipera operations manager, Kathy Kokomau, said a ranger had come across the brewer, but found the man was personable and friendly and had a current annual pass. While we certainly wouldn't encourage this behaviour, our ranger made a call that, from what he witnessed, the man wasn't bothering other users at the time.
It's like the loosest conservation officers. They walk in and say, "Oh, mate, what are you doing there?"
I'm just making river beer.
You got to say it in an American accent, though.
Oh, I'm just making some beer out of the river water.
Some beer out of the river water.
I'm just making a nice brewski out of the river.
We have to really put emphasis on the R's, because apparently people who aren't from Australia pronounce the R's at the end of their words.
Okay, well, let me try and do... So, I'm just making some beer out of the river water.
Oh, okay. And then I'm the New Zealand person, so I say, "Oh, okay. Looks cool. Thanks, mate. No
Thank
worries.
you. Do you want a brewski?
Oh, it's okay. I can't drink on the job, but keep it up."
That's good, because I pissed in it.
Well, you said that after I walked out the door, because otherwise I would have absolutely shut down the operation
I was like, I pissed in it.
From a health and safety and food standards point of view. Because I don't take I don't take national park standards seriously, but I do take food, health and safety standards seriously.
Oh, Christ. Had the man taken up residence in the hut, rangers would have moved him on. Freeman said she came across others on her way back from the hut who had decided to sleep elsewhere upon hearing about the man's plan to drink beer with his friends that night. In total, we know there were 11 people who changed their plans because of this one guy. So the park people thought he was polite because it was like fine, because all of the New Zealand people were too polite to get annoyed at him about it.
They were just so like, the Americans like, "I'm gonna have a fucking raging party up in here," and the New Zealanders like, "Oh, okay, bro,
okay. I guess we'll just head on down to the next hut.
We were heading on to the next hut anyway,
it's a 20-kilometre hike to the next hut, and it's 8 o'clock at night. But I guess we will just kind of do that.
Go. Come on, kids, let's go.
Come on, my children that are very tired and haven't eaten in a day.
Come on, I guess I can carry you to the next
there's
hut.
a lot
I
of
suppose.
Dangerous cliff sides. You really shouldn't be doing it in the dark. But I guess that's going to be what happens here tonight.
All right, cheers, mate. Hope you have a great trip. I don't know why my American turned into an Australian.
Aussie suddenly there.
Cheers, mate. Revert back to that.
Cheers, mate. It
Cheers,
sounds
mate.
so wrong. I don't like
what
it.
do Americans say? Like,
fucking
Anya, bro.
No, that's Australian too. Shit. I don't know how to speak not Australian.
I need to get back into watching some American films so I can brush up on my American culture and put on a better American accent.
America. My concern was that it meant no one else could use it, and they took it up for at least 5 or 6 days and seemed to have no intention of moving on. So they're just squatting in this hut with this brewing operation.
I feel like if you did this in Australia, though, the police would probably let you continue as long as you gave them some beer at the end of the brewing process.
Yeah,
As
that's
soon
true.
as you threw some cold ones their way.
So there's the Dock Hut users code. So you have to keep huts clean and tidy. A broom, brush, and pan are provided. Please use them and leave muddy boots outside. So
Sure.
I guess this was like a very hygienic brewing operation. I imagine after the sick rager it wouldn't be as tidy, but, they'll clean up.
Well, as long as they're keeping up to the users code and cleaning up after they finish.
Conserve gas when using heaters and cookers, and so they're using an electric brewer, so that's good.
Okay.
Keep an eye on boiling water and food, which they're doing. Like, again, this is a brewing operation. They're paying a lot of attention to it.
Well, sure. If they want good beer.
Share huts with others by being considerate. Make room
Now,
for
this
latecomers.
is the question.
Well, if they offered beer, I think that's quite considerate of them.
Well, it is quite considerate. As long as they don't offer it to children.
I mean, it depends on how cool the parents are, doesn't it?
If the parents are really loose, then sure.
There's not a lot more to it than that, but I
Are
just
they
love
going to have
that.
to add in the code, please do not brew beer
Please
or
do
set up
not.
a meth lab inside our...
Please don't start your small business inside out.
Someone sets up like a Horny Jack strip joint inside inside the conservation hut.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh.
Do you have another story?
Let me have a look here.
Take me down to Horny Jack's. I wanna see all of those boys shaking their cracks. Wanna see them shaking those things. They got
Oh,
big arm
dear.
muscles at Horny Jack's.
So Horny Jack's is a country music themed
Strip club,
male
yes.
strip joint. Interesting.
We make sure all the parts are covered minimally, but you ain't gonna see no dongs. There are laws about these things. You have to go in the back room if you want to see that dick sing.
But you have to ask for something discreet, you know.
Yeah, you have to say, you have to ask for the double McRib, and then they will take you out back and give you the
And then
double
if the
McRib.
person replies, we don't serve McRib, this is a strip joint, you know that he's understood your meaning and that you can continue with
Well,
the
no, you say, and
activity.
you go up and you say, I'd like to order some food, please. And they say, would you like the single or the double McRib? And that's how many dudes that you get. And then you ask what sauce you'd like with that. I'll just leave that one up to your imagination.
I don't know why we're serving McRibs. We don't even
Horny
have
Jack.
McRibs in Australia.
No, I don't actually know what a McRib is.
I don't know. The only reason I know of its existence is from The Simpsons, I would say.
If you go up and say a quarter pounder, that's how they know you want a really intense time.
Yeah, but that's too on the nose, I think.
That's true. If you say you want 6 chicken nuggets, then 6 really
If
small
you say you want a
dudes.
fillet fish, then I don't know what you
I
get
don't
then.
like. Then you get a really dirty, nasty boy who hasn't showered in 3 days.
I'm just going to go to this plastic bird story. How about that?
Let's do that.
This is from the Ballarat Courier. And I don't know why I chose this story. I'm just reading through it, and it's really not that interesting. But let's just go to it, because it's open.
Thank
And-
God for editing software, I guess.
Yeah, I'm like, why did I open this story?
Now, before
Anyway.
we start this, Alison, ask yourself, will this be funny at all?
Good question.
Okay.
Let's just jump right into this plastic bird story. By Joylyn Atwall for the Ballarat Courier. And the headline says, Plastic hawks deployed to deter nuisance corellas in Ballarat.
Oh.
Now, I think I picked this because the picture is quite funny. In the tree there is a giant, metal stick with a really shit-looking plastic bird in it, and a lot of other birds flying away from the shitty plastic bird.
Okay, I have some ideas based on this.
Right.
Which is, firstly, that I would like to have inflatable plastic police people to deter criminals from
Well, that's a really good
institutions.
idea. Oh, not even inflatable plastic ones, just a cardboard plastic cutout of a police officer that you stick on every corner to deter jaywalkers.
What if you went to Horny Jack's, instead of having actual strippers, we just had animatronic cardboard cutout strippers, and that's all you got to see?
Like the little ones that are powered with the tiny watch batteries that just wave their hand.
Except that he's waving his butt. That's
Yeah,
all
exactly.
that's happening.
The butt is the animated part and just moves side to side. So it looks
we've
like...
printed out like a 32 by 32 pixel image of Matthew McConaughey's face and just like glue sticked it to the face part of it.
And it's starting to get like all crumpled from the paper, like it's getting...
It got rained on the way in there.
There's some drips of like water like coming down, ruining the ink.
It's warped in some really weird ways.
Now, I like the idea of having plastic bouncers outside bars.
That's very good, because you definitely have drunk people shouting at them and getting in fights with the plastic bouncers.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just beating up the plastic cardboard cutout.
If we, bolt the bouncers to the ground, so, if you punch it, you fall down. I think that would be very effective.
It would be quite an effective method, I would assume. And I think the other thing that would be quite good from that is that, if you really wanted to limit the numbers of people coming into your pub, the plastic bouncer can't wave anyone in, and everyone's just getting increasingly frustrated, and the line is building up, and it looks like your pub is really popular because it's got a huge line.
There's no one inside buying anything. But it's the image that counts, man.
It's all about the image. And then in a few weeks' time, you replace your plastic bouncer with a real bouncer who lets people inside.
See, I think about it, because I know the concept of bouncer, I know that it ends up being to only a limited number of people inside, but you're supposed to stop, very drunk people. Yes. I always felt like you should have to answer, a trivia question to get in.
Who's the Prime Minister of Australia?
I was thinking, in episode 6 of season 4 of Friends, what is the board game that they played? And if you can't answer that, you don't get inside. And you have to type it out. You have to be able to type it out as well.
Yeah, exactly. Into, the iPad that they have there. Why do we even have bouncers? Why not just have an iPad with, a trivia game? Quiz Up, the trivia app, and just have that. They need to answer those questions to get in.
And if you get the question wrong, the iPad does electrocute you.
Yeah, for sure. So this is about some plastic birds have been installed in real trees to keep real birds out of the trees. Because apparently real native birds are a nuisance in our country.
We're just replacing all of our real animals with plastic animals.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
Because real animals, shit and they eat things and they do animal activities, whereas plastic ones,
all
they
do
don't
is kill
that.
Other animals, and that's what we really need.
They just scare away real animals. So it says, strollers wandering around Lake Wenduri may have today wondered what a crane was doing among the upper branches of a giant conifer tree. This was, in fact, the front line of a battle for control of the treetops as council arborists try to counter increasingly destructive behaviour from marauding flocks of long-billed corellas.
One day someone's going to get to that tree and there's going to be a horny koala sitting up in it just licking the plastic bird.
Yeah, for sure. Because, there's going to be, a flock of horny birds who are very attracted to the plastic bird.
That's the thing. What if they made the plastic bird too attractive? They made it
It's very sexy.
It's a really sensual bird.
So did you need to give that bird lips and breasts to make it...
Did it need to have rippling pecs?
Did it need to have abs? It's like a
Why
DreamWorks
does the bird
movie.
have a bubble butt? It doesn't make sense at all.
The birds have human anatomy.
Why is the bird a D cup? It doesn't make sense at all.
The birds are the Avery equivalent of furries.
Why is the bird winking?
I'm sorry, why is the bird wearing a bra?
Why is the bird making the sex gesture with its wings? How do its wings even do that?
It's the feather is folding in a way that's beckoning the birds over.
It's animatronic so that it's always doing
and it's an anthropomorphic bird, so it stays.
It's got a human face.
With a beak.
It's got the face of a hot lady with a beak.
It's essentially just a hot lady with a beak and bird legs and very long hair.
And wings coming out of it. It's just an angel, essentially, with a beak.
No. It looks like, I think, was it last week or the week before that we introduced the Shocked Lady doll?
Oh, yeah, it is Shocked Lady doll.
It's just a Shocked Lady doll with a beak tacked on.
Oh, Christ. Well, that defeats the point of a Shocked Lady doll, is to put a sharp object up there, so I guess that's good.
I guess it works for these birds.
Yeah, that's true.
So this council is planning on putting around...
Wow, I just had a bad thought.
I don't want to hear it.
No.
This council is planning to put around half a dozen of the imitation hawks around the lake area. which are essentially just silhouettes propped up on fiberglass rods, which will allow them to sway with the wind.
Okay.
And it's just like a plastic silhouette of a bird to scare away real birds. And I just why?
I feel like you've replaced the real birds with fake birds, and I don't get what the advantage of the fake birds is.
I don't understand why we are trying to scare away our native wildlife from their habitat.
Don't worry, it'll be okay, because then the circle of life will fuck up and all the trees will die, and they'll learn their lesson.
Later in the article, it says why the corellas, which are essentially like a white parrot kind of bird for people who don't know what they are, it's saying that the reason, well, one of the theories for the increase in their destructive behaviour is that recent dry weather has affected the corellas' normal food sources, leading them to forage in the treetops. So, essentially, these birds are starving to death and are trying to eat the top of the trees, but that's really bad for the local people.
The trees are really important. They're way more important than these dying birds.
The trees that supply food for birds and native animals.
Well, see, but what they do, Alison, is the trees also supply prettiness for my eyes, and that's more important.
But the trees are quite ugly, Chris. They're really not attractive trees, but that could be because the birds destroyed the whole tree.
That could be true, because they didn't get the feng shui quite right.
I just think it's a baffling concept of installing plastic animals in trees to scare away real animals that are starving and need to eat the trees to live.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, and I think that they really need to rethink their priorities.
Will it be more of an eyesore when there's a bunch of dead birds just, like, laying around the city, or is that something they're into in this town?
I think they're real nasty in that town. They're into that.
They just love the sight of dead birds everywhere.
Oh, Christ. It's like a bird battlefield.
But it kind of, like, in reality, it kind of just moves the issue somewhere else. Because, you know, all these trees that are scaring away the birds.
It's almost like politicians don't like resolving issues, and they just like moving them to other people's problems.
Right, exactly. Like certain lockout laws in Sydney may have just moved the problem to other suburbs in Sydney.
Newtown and places that I like to go.
Exactly.
Can I give you one final story? I think we've got enough time. So this is from Otago Daily Times.
Perfect. Got to get back to best newspaper in the world.
As unlikely as it sounds, there is a black market for stolen rubbish bags in Dunedin.
I'm sorry?
The illicit underground trade was revealed yesterday in Dunedin District Court. They've said yesterday twice, when Taman David Marcos McLean, 47, pleaded guilty to 5 charges of shoplifting. In his haul of nearly $2,500 of products was $628 worth of Dunedin City Council rubbish bags.
I'm sorry?
The total drew a raised eyebrow from Judge Michael Chrispy. Is that right? He asked. Prosecutor Sergeant Chris George was able to shed some light on the issue. They are alarmingly expensive, and I understand there's a black market for them, he said.
Why? Who is illicitly buying council rubbish bags?
Illuminating, Judge Crosby replied. Defense counsel Sarah...
I guess his tone was probably illuminating.
Illuminating. Defense counsel Sarah Saunderson-Warner also chipped in. They come in a packs of 25. They're a tradable commodity.
How sad is this town that people are illicitly trading garbage bags? It's like, you know, your kids are Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards or like Tarzos or other sick things. And council rubbish bags are like the new hot fad of trading in the school playground.
The pilfering of the black refuse sack has resulted in Woolworths-owned supermarkets such as Countdown pulling the items from the shelves. We've placed the council rubbish bag packs behind the counter in our Dunedin stores due to the high number of thefts. Group Manager Craig Unsworth confirmed.
What are people doing with garbage bags in New Zealand?
You have to go and ask for garbage bags now. We've had no issues since we've taken these off the shelf.
What?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry?
However, at Mosgiel New World, which McLean targeted twice in February, management had not taken such drastic steps. Staff confirmed they were still on the shelves. McLean first struck on February 1st, making off with 3 packs of 25 rubbish bags, stashing them down the front.
75 garbage bags.
Stashing them down the front of his jacket and walking out. He repeated the act again within 2 weeks and upped the ante, concealing 4 packs.
But does it explain why these are such a hot commodity?
Absolutely not.
That's kind of what you'd lead with, isn't it? That's what the...
Alison, just wait.
Okay.
McLean's main target, though, was meat. Judge Crosby noted the defendant was stealing to order for prearranged clients.
I like this guy.
There exists like an Uber Eats for stolen meat in Dunedin. The man
This guy is like, he sets up his stall on the side of the road and says, like, his name, purveyor of fine meats. And basically you set in an order and then he will steal what you want for you.
Exactly.
He's like the Robin Hood of butchers.
The man hit Umaru New World for $895 of the finest cuts, as well as nearly $600 from the Timaru branch. In Mosgiel, he packed ribeye, porterhouse, and whole beef eye fillet worth $300 into a backpack and left without paying.
My God!
I like to imagine that he didn't, like, package them at all. Like, he just had, like, a pile of raw...
raw meat sitting in the bottom of his backpack.
Just, like, collecting juices.
And the juices are just dripping out of his backpack. And, you know, on the bus on the way home, someone's like... Sir, I think something's I think your water bottle is leaking, maybe?
It's leaking blood?
So, and he's like, ignore that. And he just walks away.
Mr. Saunderson Warner said her client, a beneficiary who could not work because of his back, maybe his back would be better if he wasn't carrying $300 worth of meat in a backpack, was suffering financial hardship at the time. She argued McLean should be sentenced to community work, but Judge Crosby wanted a report to find out what was happening in the man's life.
Yes, I indeed want a report to find out what's happening in this man's life.
Sentencing will happen on Tuesday.
Can someone in New Zealand, someone who's like a New Zealand hotshot journalist, get to the bottom of why garbage bags are a hot commodity for thieves?
And can you also bring me a few porterhouse steaks?
Yeah, I need some for my new business that I'm opening, my new local business in Byron Bay.
And I'd like them to be stolen. We're going to serve them at the strip club.
It tastes better when it's crime.
That can be the slogan of Horny Jacks. It tastes better when it's crime.
It tastes better when it's crime. I like that. Yeah, that's a good slogan.
We're not going to explain what it means.
No, the customers will say, this steak is really good. And the waiter would just give a knowing wink as they walk away backwards, winking repeatedly at the customer.
They'll just say, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's good.
Do we want to wrap up?
Maybe.
Okay. Thank you everyone for listening. This episode felt a lot more functional than last week's one.
I think we are both awake because it is a Saturday morning, not a Thursday night.
Thank Christ.
Thank Christ, indeed.
So follow us on Instagram or Twitter at RedMenacecast. Recommend the show to your friends. I have got a final pun. There's been lots of puns this week, so I've got a few.
Good. That's good.
A few banked up. This is one that my dad sent me. So this is from the Daily Telegraph.
Oh, no. I hate it already.
Yeah. Gloomy fog leads to missed flights.
Oh! It's so bad! Oh no! Who wrote that? Who is responsible?
Rupert is personally responsible for
Rupert himself vetoed what the editor had chosen as the headline.
And they made them do the missed pun.
And they're like, we don't want to do this missed pun.
Thank you for listening, folks. Good luck and good night.
Thanks for listening. My laptop's on 5% battery, so this is a good time to finish.
Bye.
See you later.